Joining me to discuss the U.S. Africa Business Center's engagement with African businesses and how the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is trying to connect with young business leaders across the continent is Kendra Gaither, President of the U.S. Africa Business Center and Senior Vice President at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Ms. Kendra Gaither, welcome to Africa 54.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Paul.
First of all, congratulations on your appointment as the President of the Chamber.
Thank you very much.
So let's start there. Tell us what you guys have been up to at the Chamber.
Sure. So our U.S. Africa Business Center is focused on really connecting the continent and the opportunities of the continent with the American business community. We were formed nearly a decade ago to really usher in more U.S. company engagement with the African private sector, but also to be partners with the African governments, regional institutions, and the AFCFTA as they look to attract international investment to the continent.
About a year ago, the Chamber was part and parcel of organizing the biggest summit that we've seen yet. You played an instrumental role there. Bring us up to speed. What is it that has happened since then?
I'm glad you asked because just yesterday, our U.S. Africa Business Center hosted a forum on advancing commercial partnerships between the U.S. and Africa for our shared prosperous future. And we really took a look at what had been achieved since December 2022 in so many areas of sectors of partnership, but really chief among it was that the commitment of the United States represented by our members to really show up strong, to demonstrate that the 2022 summit was more than just a moment, but it really is a reflection of that increased desire to be partners in Africa's growth story. So we took an audit, if you will, yesterday looking at opportunities to work together with our African partners and the U.S. government to advance digital transformation, to support agricultural development. In fact, we released a white paper yesterday on ways in which business and government can work with international institutions to enable ecosystems to allow additional agricultural development, sustainable farming that will improve livelihoods and crop yields and address food security. But the conversation yesterday was really about how American companies are committed to the partnership.
I'm glad to hear that because when I've talked to a lot of people on the continent, they say there's less engagement of American businesses with Africa. So you are working on that.
Absolutely. I think for the number of countries on the continent, the number of opportunities that are there, the ingenuity, the dynamism, there can never be enough American companies on the continent as far as we're concerned. So we're continuing to raise our voice so that the presence is really continuously felt. And we have a network of American chambers of commerce across Africa who are helping us to do that.
How about engagement with young people? Last year, you helped to pull off one of the biggest digital competitions on the continent. Are you planning to do something like that in the near future?
We are very much committed to continuing that process. Last year, that historic digital innovation competition really allowed us to engage with young entrepreneurs from across Africa who are using that ingenuity, that dynamism, that innovation to solve problems. And that's what business does. Business looks at an issue, an entrepreneur, a founder looks at ways to solve it and really then makes that solution available to the world. So we want to invest in companies that are doing things like that, young startups, and we'll be looking to relaunch that process coming soon.
How about the big picture, AGOA? Everybody talks about AGOA. There are some countries that have been dropped recently, but the U.S. continues to engage a lot of countries when it comes to AGOA. Your thoughts on that?
So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is a supporter of the AGOA initiative. The legislation is really critical in opening doors to economic development and building bridges. I think we would all agree that it hasn't quite ushered in the level of trade and investment that we would hope, but we think it's important to renew it, to extend it, to create business certainty, because the truth is if AGOA doesn't have a long runway, if companies don't have certainty over the long term that it exists, then it's hard for companies to make the type of long-term investments, to create partnerships and relationships that last beyond year to year. So we're committed to working with our members, working with Congress, which ultimately will have the task of determining what reauthorization looks like, and helping to support this continued important cornerstone of U.S. Africa economic partnership, but also with an eye towards that being the foundation for continued growth.
Very briefly, what does it take for people who want to be part of the AGOA network to tap into those resources to do business with you guys over here?
So in each country where AGOA is, entrepreneurs are eligible to participate, various countries have taken efforts to develop activation plans to help support those entrepreneurs to be able to access the U.S. market. Our AmChams are active as well, convening conferences and seminars to help companies understand how to trade and invest with the U.S.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you so much, Ms. Kendra.
It's a pleasure. I look forward to coming back.
Yeah, thank you so much.